Hello, Gremolinos. It is I, Catherine, your favorite asthmatic, mostly 10-fingered, chaotic book reader. And after reading all of the Game Changers books in my last vlog, this is a complete, departure from that. I am going to be reading 4 books in this vlog, possibly 5, depending on if the 5th one comes in. Because it's near the end of February and I haven't read the books I have picked out for the Buzzword prompt yet. That's hosted by Kayla over at Books and Lala. I am going to be reading the 2 February picks that I have for the Buzzword challenge and then the 2 March picks, because this video is not going to go up until March itself. So even if I read them slightly before March, I'm still going to count it as read for March. I'm not that worried about it. And then the 5th book is the Literally Dead book club pick, the How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. I have a Libby hold for it, but it's just taking a while. I'm second in line, but I've been in line for this book for a while. So if it comes in before this video is over, I'll just tack it on as Literally Dead book club plus Buzzword books. But if not, then I'll read it at a later date. It's not really that big a deal. But for the Buzzword prompts, the first one that I'm going to try and take care of is Silhouette. It's the March cover prompt. And so I have Love, Lies, and Hocus Pocus Beginnings. This is part of a series. Krista bought these for me, the whole series. There was some kind of deal ages ago and I have not read them, and it was on technically, I was gonna try and read them last year, or at least start them. That didn't happen, so I'm going to read the first one for this challenge because there's 2 silhouettes, so that will work. Now a lot of the books I'm reading in this are either, I feel like the books I picked are very random, because I know no one has read that on YouTube. I've never seen anyone talk about it. The other book I have picked for the prompts is definitely an indie book that I found on Kindle that fulfills the other February prompt, but we'll get to that when we get to that. I am not really going to tell you much about this, except we're following a wizard, and I feel like maybe this is cozy fantasy possibly, or a cozy mystery style magic series, but I'm not entirely sure. So that'll be the first book. This is all just gonna be so random. And I'm gonna let you know that I have attempted to find a pick for the other prompt, keyboard keys, for ages. For some reason, that one was so hard for me. And I kept picking books and being no, that doesn't work. And then picking another book and being no, that doesn't actually work because it's not actually in the title. I'll explain a little bit. But the first book will be Love, Lies, and Hocus Pocus Beginnings, and I will fill you in. I'm gonna be doing a lot of reading this week because unfortunately Krista has a ton of night court. Hi Chloe, are you getting comfy? Chloe is adjusting. For those who don't know, I don't normally sit here all the time. My last few videos, hi, this is Chloe, have all basically been on this couch. Chloe, our dog right there, had emergency surgery to remove her spleen after it ruptured due to a tumor in February, and the recovery process is very long and she can't be left alone. She can't really do a lot of moving around, so we have a full-size mattress on our floor tucked inside our couch setup because we have kind of a modular sofa. So she's just been hanging out here, and so I have to work in our living room to watch her, and so because I basically just film before work, sometimes during my lunch breaks, and then after work when I can, I've just been filming a lot in this spot with my giant coffee cup because I can't really go into the kitchen to make coffee. So yeah, so I've been working down here. I am wearing a very cozy sweatshirt that I got for Valentine's Day. It's very nice, very I already said cozy. And if you hear weird noises, that's our fireplace because the temperatures are dropping this week, and sometimes the blower on our fireplace makes this very squeaky sound. So yeah, those are the updates. I will probably be in this spot almost every time you see me, but maybe because I'll possibly update you while Krista's in night court sometimes, I'll be laying on the bed on the floor. So just assume I'll mostly be in my living room for this vlog, which I know is not interesting, but also I can't go anywhere because Chloe can't go anywhere, and I already work from home and I don't drive. So I can't leave the house. I'm the stationary at home mom for Chloe, and our other 2 dogs are hanging out on the other side. We have a little gate system set up, and they have part of the modular sofa on their side of the room. It's a whole thing. Hopefully soon we'll be able to take all of this down and have everything back to normal, and I'll be working upstairs and all that stuff, but we won't know until we go to the vet on Saturday because again, the recovery process takes forever, which it's great that she is recovering at all and things are going well, but it's a long recovery process where she just needs to be pretty low energy and like not allowed to move around a lot, and she can't do stairs, and our bedroom is on the second floor. But my arm is getting tired, and I've already told you things. I've just rambled on and on for this intro. I'm very sorry. But yeah, I will update you when I have things to update you on for this Buzzword challenge, and I'm looking forward to checking out this series. So yeah, let's get to cozy wizards, and I need to help Chloe get comfortable because she's flinging all the blankets around. Talk to you sometime possibly later today, Grumelinos. Hello, Grumelinos. I am cold, so I have my hood on, and I also found this giant gray blanket that I am going to be using every day for work now because I'm freezing. The temperatures are dropping. Now I look ridiculous. I'll take my hood down. The temperatures are dropping. Oh no, I'm really cold. Are dropping this week, and I'm by an exterior wall, and today our fireplace decided, so remember how I said it was making noise? It just turned itself off. And I don't know how to fix it. I told Krista it was being weird, so I like turned up the thermostat, but it's still cold by this wall, so I'm very chilly. The reason I'm talking to you though, it's the end of my work day. Like, work is over. And before work I read some, and then during my lunch break I was able to actually finish Love Lies and Hocus Pocus, which means I have completed a Buzzword book way faster than I anticipated. But I actually was I was already seated and like prepped for work probably an hour and a half before work actually started, so I had a lot of time. And then I used my entire lunch break to just read and eat, but mostly read. So brain. In Love, Lies, and Hocus Pocus Beginnings, because this is the first one, we are following Lily Singer, who is a wizard. And the layout of this book is a little different than I anticipated. I thought this was like I don't know how to, I'm going to say I thought this was one complete story, like one story all the way through, and like it kind of is, but it isn't. So the layout is, in this one there's an episode, it's literally called episode 1, then there's an interlude, and then there's episode 2, which based on how that's set up, I'm guessing all the books kind of maybe follow a similar format, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at them. They're all upstairs, they're all pulled out, but I'm not sure. So like in the first story, we meet Lily, we're introduced to the fact that she's a wizard, which is different from being a witch, and there's this whole like description of how wizards are different than witches, and it's a very specific thing, and she was trained by this woman who is like kind of a stodgy, older looking woman who looks fantastic for her age because she's obviously very, 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 very old, like hundreds of years old, if not older, who like trained her, and she took over this thing called the basement at, does it list the college? At this specific college, but it's a women's college, like women only college, and she runs the basement. But what's interesting is we are told it's a women's only college and that men can be there but not really, which is so strange to me. And she works there, and like the basement is where all of the specific magic books are. But again, wizards are different, it's a whole thing, books are different, like it's all very specifically like wizards are different. Everything you know about wizards is not what you think. And then there's someone named Sebastian who is actually the nephew of the woman who trained her, but he has no wizard in him. You are like you are genetically a wizard, and he isn't, so he has become a witch. And the setup in here is that witches are different from wizards in that witches have to borrow or use like favors or something like that to do magic. So like he does favors with the fae where they like give him power or like help him with things, but like he's not doing spells, he's like making deals kind of, which is an interesting difference, but that's how that's set up. In the first one, he says that he's become like a freelancer, like he's kind of being a professional witch. He is hired to get rid of a ghost, and he finds out that it's not the ghost that's the problem, it's actually that the house is cursed. Like the family line is cursed and somehow that affects the house, and that this ghost, I'm gonna cough, asthma, sorry. I knew it was happening. The ghost is actually there to warn people because he's like, the house is cursed, like your life will be terrible. We then get Lily drawn in because he's like, well, it's a curse, I can't undo a curse, like I don't know how to do that, that's not a thing a witch can do, I need you. So she agrees to help Sebastian because they're like kind of friends, sort of. She doesn't really like him, but she puts up with him, and so she helps out. That whole thing gets resolved. It involves some like investigating and like looking things up, but like the magic in this is more like meditating, so like it's not like a spell being cast, it's more like she meditates, she figures something out, she does something. So the magic is more, not like dramatic action, it's just stuff that's happening. Then the interlude is all Sebastian, and it's him looking for a friend who stole something from him. Like, he robbed him, basically, because his friend has gambling debts, and he was trying to help his friend get it on his feet, and his friend stole stuff, pawned stuff, and this magical item is gone. I'm really gonna say that the interlude is pretty long for, like, technically no resolution. Like, there isn't one. The item is not found. We just, like, learn who this person is, and we learn where the item could be, and, like, that's it. And, like, it's just, like, a very long interlude to, like, explain how witchcraft, I guess, works. But it's not even called witchcraft. It's just, like, what witches do. And then the second story in this involves a town stuck in a time loop that was inadvertently put in place by the magical item that was lost in the interlude. So the pawn shop that had the item is in this place called the Pits. And then this section gets kind of odd because Sebastian does need Lily to help him. Like, he's like, I need you, I don't know how to, like, stop this. And is able to contact her very difficultly through the time loop. She gets there, and then the time loop affects her differently because she's a wizard. But then the story itself is this, the loop keeps happening, and then we ultimately learn that a man is doing the loop over and over. Like, he didn't actually set it up, but he doesn't know how to stop it. But he doesn't want to stop it because he's getting to live his son's birthday over and over. And then, of course, once I said that, I was like, well, obviously there's a reason. And, like, if you read this, the reason for wanting a child's birthday party to continue over and over, I think, is very obvious. And then both Sebastian and Lily are like, well, I don't know why you would want to live. And I'm like, there's obviously a reason he doesn't want to stop the birthday. Like, come on, you put it together, please. So they're, like, a little slow, the two of them. They're also a little slow, I feel like, in the first one. And slow as in, like, putting together clues or being able to figure out, like, why something is going the way it is. Also, some things are very convenient. Like, in the first story, we learn that a woman is behind the curse, and somehow her journal is at the local, like, history museum. And I was like, wait, what? And then that, like, solves it. Again, they're, like, kind of mysteries, sort of. But it's odd to me because there's a short storybook that is in the set of books that Krista got me, because she actually got me, like, books 1 through 10 or something of this series. And, like, this one's even signed by the author. But, like, if they're all episodes, I don't know how a short storybook exists, because is it just extra shorts? Like, are they extra short in comparison to, like, the I guess they'd be shorter than the interludes, maybe? I don't know, because the interlude was long. So it's odd to me that this is broken up into 3 stories if there's a short stories collection that is, like, this size. So I'm confused a little. But I mean, it was fine. I have nothing... I don't have anything, like, against it, if that makes sense. It was an easy read. Everything is very kind of blatantly laid out for you in very, very clear language. This feels very, no matter what your level of reading comprehension is, you'll understand what's going on. You don't need to, like, look for deeper insight. You don't even need to really try and, like, picture what's around you, because you're being told everything in such specific detail. Like, there's no way to not know what you're looking at. Like, nothing is left really to your imagination. It's all very, very upfront. Like, this is what's happening and this is what you see and this is where we are, which is fine. It's just not really what I expected. And I was trying to explain it to Krista, and she was like, how many of those did I get you? And I was like, a lot. She was like, what do you mean by a lot? And I was like, I think there's 10 upstairs. And she was like, 10. So, like, it's possible the writing changes throughout, and maybe these do turn into novel, like, more novel length stories instead of episodes, but I don't think so. And I say this solely because at the end of episode 2 in here, there's a duo that shows up that says they're from the FBI, as though we are in a television series. And I was like, are we now in the X-Files? Is this, like, the X-Files? Like, what? So I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm not going to read any more of these. That was a very loud sound. Jeez, turn your subwoofer off. You're in a residential neighborhood. So I'm not saying I won't read any more of these. I do want to see how it goes, especially because I have, like, a prologue about Sebastian too. Like, there's a prequel novel that is for him. I think it's a novel. I mean, maybe it's a story collection. I have no idea. But I am curious to see, like, what comes from this. I'm not actively going to start reading them next, because I have a number of books, like, lined up that I want to read. So I am curious to see where it goes, but also it feels like a book that if I want to, like, accomplish reading a book and not have to, like, do a lot of deep thought, I could do that. So like, it's an easy read. It's a very popcorny. Like, it kind of feels like watching a 20-minute television show. Like, Goosebumps would be the wrong thing. I'm trying to think of like, oh, House of Anubis, kind of, sorry. But with magic. I don't know, it was fine. I have nothing against it. It's just, it's not what I expected, and it's not as magical as I thought. Like, everything feels very, and even Lily, our main character, says it's not magic, it's science, or it's not science, it's magic. And I get that. Like, it feels very like science-y. Like, Sebastian's feels a bit more magical, but it's more deal making. So even that is like not really magic to me. And then hers isn't really magic. It's like determining things. Like, it's just interesting. It's not like as magic-y as I expected, but it does fulfill my silhouettes prompt. And moving on to the next book. I'm not going to continue to harp on that one. I'm also not looking at you because I'm putting in a password. The next book I am reading, this one took me forever to find, is Control Alt Murder, a Stan Whitaker mystery, which I believe is a cozy mystery following a guy who works in IT who has 2 Shih Tzus. I don't know. I was having the worst time figuring out what I wanted to read for keyboard keys. I swear to you, I kept finding things that I was like the word end is on your keyboard, and somehow every time I looked up a book with the word end in the title, my brain could not find, like, I could not find one that made any sense. Like, I was just like, I'm losing my mind. Also, fun fact, my husband, by Maud Ventura, has a longer title where end is at the end of it, and I almost just read that instead. But I literally just typed in Control Alt, I think, because like that's a key function, and this popped up on Kindle. And I was like, you know what? It's a cozy mystery with a dude and some dogs. So that's what we're doing. That is the book we're reading. I have no idea if it's gonna be any good. I would like for it to be good, but I'm not gonna have high hopes. That sounds so mean, but like, I'm just not going to go in with high hopes because I have never heard of it. I think it had kind of decent reviews. I don't know, I didn't read them, but that's the next book, for keyboard keys. And I feel like every time I do the like, one of the Buzzword books that I do is always a huge letdown. In January, I absolutely did not enjoy one of the ones I picked. And so I'm really hoping that this one, like, because I didn't not enjoy this. It just, like, is a very simple read. But I'm hoping this one is at least fun. And that maybe the dogs do some silly stuff. This is such a long clip, but I'm gonna go. I gotta do dog stuff, but I just wanted to fill you in on things and let you know that we're on to the keyboard keys prompt, which I made remarkably difficult for myself. So I'll talk to you later, Gremolinos. I'm not sure when. Hello, Gremolinos. I don't have a book update for you. I just wanted to show off that this is all growing back from the haunt. I did my hair and my makeup today. And by makeup, I mean I put a little eyeliner on. And currently, I'm sitting on my couch with a cat upon me. I am working, mind you. I'm taking like a 2-second break to show you this because I think it's funny. He loves this blanket and insists, that's my camera strap, sorry, that he needs to be here. So I'm just chilling. Again, I have no book update. I do hope to have a book update for you. I'm gonna read during lunch is my plan, and Krista does have court tonight. It's a weird court that starts at a weird time, so I should be able to read some, I think. We're kind of playing tonight by ear because she is trying to get home from court as close to 5 as possible. We'll see how that goes because I can take Chloe out, but I cannot take the other 2 dogs out because Chloe has to be monitored. So we're just seeing how that's going to work tonight. She did actually get people to cover her court. She had 2 other night courts, and she was like, we still can't like leave her alone, which means I can't take the other 2 dogs. So she was like, I'm gonna find someone. And so she did find 2 people to cover for her so that she would be home and I could actually like do stuff around the house. So yeah, but Saturday we have her appointment, and hopefully we'll get the like all clear that she can be like left alone for periods of time, and also can like go back upstairs so we're not still sleeping in our living room. Though we both slept very well last night, surprisingly. The cats were pretty chill for once, and Chloe and I got a solid amount of sleep. I do still want more coffee, even though I already drank this giant thing, because I'm cold. So when Krista pops by for her lunch break, I will, and really she's using her lunch break to come home so that we can like do outs for the other 2 dogs in the afternoon. That's really what it is. She's gonna swing in. I will make coffee while we're doing all of that and then be situated for the rest of the day. So yeah, but I just want to give you an update because I felt like I looked put together, and also this cat being on my lap was making me laugh. He's ridiculous. I just thought since I looked put together, there's dog hair all over me. There always is. I would just show you before it gets late and I get tired. So I will have a book update at some point. I don't know when. I do want to read some of it because I'm curious to see if I actually like this book. And again, I do think I'm actually going to read the March books before March, but it's fine. Time is relative. And I feel like Kayla would not fault me for reading a month ahead. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I will talk to you sometime later today, Gremlinos. I think, hopefully, we'll see. I felt like I should show you that I am put together, and I like did my hair and my makeup this morning because I felt more awake. But yeah, talk to you later. Good morning, Gremlinos. Welcome to the part of the couch where I prepare for work every morning. Sorry you're not getting interesting angles, but this is where I am basically most of the day. And when I'm not here, I'm down there in the pile of blankets. And I think there's Chloe. She has a red panda. That's like her favorite. But yeah, I basically live within this confine of space. And then I occasionally go upstairs to take medicine, which I'm not going to take you with me to do. And I occasionally take the dogs out. And then I'm outside in our yard. And then that's it. That's really it. Occasionally I'm in the kitchen. But really only to do brief things. I am probably cooking dinner tonight. Maybe I'll take you in there for dinner cooking, but you know, I don't know. Yesterday we had just like drive-through. So there was no cooking, so there's no reason for me to be in the kitchen. So I'm genuinely mostly just like here. Also I look very red in this lighting with this sweatshirt, but it's fine. I really like this sweatshirt. It's my Squawk one. I have a book update for you. So sorry, my asthma is a mess. My nose started running this morning. I was told I had a sinus infection. I took meds for it, and I'm very sure that I had an upper respiratory infection. And I don't think I got enough meds to make it fully go away, but it's whatever. It is what it is. We're just living our lives. But I finished Control Alt Murder, a Stan Whitaker mystery by Maximilian Manners. I actually enjoyed this. And I know that sounds mean to say, but I'm very picky about like a cozy mystery kind of setup. And this was actually pretty like cute. We are following Stan, who is divorced and is currently living in, what is the name of the town? I keep forgetting the name of the town. Hold on. No, what is it called? Ridgewell. So he previously lived in Los Angeles, and he was like a huge like IT guy making tons of money, basically working all the time. And he and his wife got divorced, and she kept the house because she is like from money. And he left. He moved, he tried a couple places, and now he's in Ridgewell. And Ridgewell is like a small town where like everyone knows everyone's business. And he got a job in the IT department, which pays a lot less than his former very fancy job, but he just wanted something that was like easy, that he knew. Hey, stop! Chloe, it's just Vane! Chloe! Stop! She's not tired. She's had her drugs. She's not tired. Which is bad, because there's a delivery coming today that I have to sign for, that she's going to be very upset about. Just lay down, please. So yeah. Some days she's sleepy. Some days she has no desire to sleep. You cannot be on the couch, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. So, returning to what I was saying. Oh, look, I have different coloring. Some of it's the TV, I guess. Yeah, this is my life. I just sit here. I try and keep Chloe from barking at things. I fail exponentially. I have to hold her leash consistently so she doesn't come off the bed. Yeah, book. Back to the book. Stan has a job in IT. He works with a guy named DJ and a guy named Steven. DJ is kind of, I think, supposed to be like, I don't quite know. He speaks interestingly, very like current slang, sort of. So I think he's supposed to be like, not a millennial, whatever. Is it Gen Z? Maybe? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. DJ is kind of funny. He's also like kind of in charge. And then Steven is like an old guy who's been working at the company forever, and he's in IT. The setup of this is that it is a business that had a factory and was like a huge deal in Ridgewell for a long time. But the owners have passed away, and the business was kind of purchased by an outside entity. So same name, but the practices are very different. And they're very like office-y. I don't quite know what they do. It's just kind of like a building. Oddly enough, I was kind of picturing where I used to work a little in the layout, because we're in this like massive building. And the IT department kind of sounded like our old IT department, and like the setup just seemed kind of similar to me, so that was fun. And that's kind of what I was picturing. But Stan winds up finding the dead body of the current CEO of the business, whose name is like Towers. And he's like, he was a health nut, like he's just dead, like I don't think he had a heart attack or anything. And someone has definitely done Towers in for some reason, and the issue is that the company kind of wants to get this gone. They don't want to have this in the news. There's some kind of shareholders meeting coming up, so the murder is being glossed over. And so there's a police officer named Maria, detective, I forget her last name, she's just Maria for most of this. She and Stan sorry, I told you my asthma is being the worst. She and Stan team up to try and actually figure out what happened. So Stan is working with Maria, and there's also an auditor that is brought in named Vance that Stan is terrified of. He seems very like scary. He keeps locking them out of all their IT stuff because he's supposed to like lock down the situation, make things like poof, gone. I don't know why I did this for poof. I don't know. So he is terrified of Vance finding out what's going on. And he is also, there's like 3 suspects consistently throughout this. The wife of Towers, they were going to get divorced. But if he died before the divorce went through, she would inherit everything. Then the current CFO, who, they can't tell if she's involved in like weird stuff with the money or not, but there is this fund that everyone keeps talking about. It's a retirement fund, or like a pension fund. It's like a very important fund, but for like former employees and their spouses, families, that kind of thing. And it's in like, there's something going on with it. So they think the CFO may be involved, the wife may be involved, and then there's the son of the former owner the son is alive, the former owner is dead. And he has been like in the building yelling about this fund. And so those are our key suspects. That's very blatantly pointed out to you pretty early on, which is why I'm telling you. And then we're following Stan as he's trying to investigate, on top of the fact that he has these 2 wild Shih Tzus named Nugget and Chunk. And they were his in the divorce. They actually got them for their kids, he and his wife. But the wife's new boyfriend was like, I don't want dogs. So he has the dogs, but they're very cute. The dog moments are adorable. And we're just like following Stan while he's like doing all this stuff. He goes on some dates with a woman at the office who also happens to have previously been a like forensic accountant, and an auditor herself. So she's very helpful in the investigation. It's just like a fun, silly, goofy time. The only it's a mild complaint, is some of the dialogue is written a bit oddly, where a human would normally use like a contraction or a different phrasing. And sometimes the phrasing is a little too perfect. And I say that in that there won't be a contraction. It'll be like, I will talk to you later, or I have gone to, like, just the phrasing is like very, and it doesn't happen consistently. Sometimes it does seem very conversational, and other times it's more forced sounding. And I think it's just, when you're writing, the old school style is like, don't use contractions. And so if you're trying to like stick to that, you might not think to use the contractions in spoken language. So just some of the language reads a little funny, not consistently again, but overall, like it was a fine time. If you work in troubleshooting at all for computers, which I have done, it was just funny because he does some stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, that I know how to do that, or like, oh, I've had to do that. So that was also fun. So I did genuinely enjoy it. I think it's it's his like debut book too, so felt like a solid debut cozy mystery. It was a cute time, so I have no complaints. Not like my favorite book in the world, but still very solid. So I had fun, and it was an easy read, and the Shih Tzu parts were very cute. The next book I'm going to read, I think this is my plan. I think it's going to be this one. Let it load. Doop, doop, doop. I think I'm gonna read this one next. This Thing Between Us. Oh, that cover looks so weird on my camera. I believe this is a horror. I think. Do I officially know? No. I know people have talked about this before, so I am just gonna read this next. It fits for this or that in the March prompts. And again, I understand it is technically still February. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna cough again. Sorry, I told you my asthma is being a mess today. Technically it is still February, but we're so close to the end of the month, and I really just like would like to have these knocked out for March in advance. I just like, that's in my brain, that seems like a goal that would be nice to hit. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, so this fits this or that, and we'll see how it goes. I swear someone mentioned reading this before. But yeah, we shall see. I will just be here. I do not start work technically for another 45 minutes. But I am like already getting set up because I have that delivery coming and I don't know when it's coming, but I gotta go in the event that that is the delivery. It sounded like a truck. But I will talk to you sometime later today about something. Do I know what? No. Probably this book, but who knows? All right. See you later, Grandma knows. Hello. Oh my gosh, I just rubbed my eye and I didn't actually take my makeup off and now I look like a raccoon. Cool. Okay, that's how that's gonna be. Hi, you're probably surprised that I'm in this bed. And I say that because I wasn't supposed to be in this bed. Krista, after dinner, was like, I think you need to sleep upstairs. So, she pointed out that I was a little grouchy, and I think she may think I'm losing my mind. I literally was like, you think I'm going insane? And she did not say I wasn't. So she basically was like, you have to sleep upstairs. Like, please sleep upstairs. I'm sleeping with Chloe. Now, admittedly, I point out this is a bad plan because she is on call this week. So if she gets called, I have to immediately go downstairs. So overall, it should be fine. Kira is pouting and won't come up on the bed. I have tried everything. Bruni is staring at me very intently. He's right there. But Kira's way over there. She doesn't want to come up here, and I have tried so many times. Maybe if I turn the lights off, she'll come up. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm up here because Krista thinks I'm going crazy. So yeah. Yeah. No, she just said that I was very crabby, and next week for work is going to be incredibly busy. I'm actually very busy at work tomorrow because I have to do a training thing on top of my regular schedule, and that may or may not be a bit hectic. Also all the sweatshirts are there. I can't remember. That was in another video, I think. Yeah. Those are all Krista's sweatshirts because she's normally up here, so they're all in an easy to grab place. But yeah, so she told me to sleep up here. And yeah, my tomorrow is going to be a lot busy. And I work downstairs so I can keep an eye on Chloe and have her leash next to me. Sorry, my hair is all over it. I'm just a hot mess. So like, I'll be doing the training and I'll have, like, I have to shadow someone, so I have to have my headset on, which is going to be tricky because I have to, like, turn off the TV. And I use the TV to keep them from barking at things, so they'll probably be barking while I'm shadowing. We're just gonna see how that goes. Yeah, because that's gonna be a time. My I don't even know. I don't even really understand exactly what's happening tomorrow. So my day tomorrow is like very in flux, which is not great for me because I like to kind of go into the day with like a game plan, and I don't really have one of those. And then tonight it was a little bit hectic because Chloe ran out of chicken, so I had to order chicken during my lunch break, and then I had to cook it while I was cooking dinner. And it came like while I was starting to cook dinner, and then I had to like, I don't really have a lot of counter space, so I was like trying to cook this chicken and make dinner, and not burn myself or accidentally set myself on fire because we have a gas range. And I got like really close to the range when I was doing the chicken. I'm fine. I did not set myself on fire, but I was like right near the burner, which it stresses me out a little. There's nothing to be done about it. I had to be next to the burner. But yeah, so I was just doing a lot of things at once, and then we were watching a show, and then I realized I had wanted to post something on Instagram and I forgot. Not that Instagram is that important in the grand scheme of things, but I forgot that I was gonna do that, and then I was doing that, and there's just too many things that I was like, oh, I have to do these things. And so yes, I probably did sound mildly insane because I just kept thinking of all the stuff that I have to do tomorrow and stuff I need to do tonight. And oh my gosh, my battery is dying, so that's great for all of us. Look at me being all together with smudgy makeup in my pajamas in a bed that I wasn't supposed to be sleeping in. I'm just doing great. Can you tell? Stellar. Anyway, I am about halfway through This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno, and the writing in this is beautiful. We are following, oh no, I forgot how to say it again. Gosh dang it. Hold on, before my battery dies, I will at least tell you the name of the person. So we are following Thiago, and Thiago's wife has died. But prior to his wife's death, weird things started happening. They have something called an ITSA, which is owned by a large corporation, and it like does things for you. And ITSA is basically a, hey ITSA, can you fill in the blank? And so they get this ITSA, like weird stuff starts happening. Strange packages start coming to their house, just like weird things. Alarms don't go off when they're supposed to. There's weird lights in their apartment. Like things are just strange. Like there's something going on with their condo on top of the fact that this ITSA is there doing weird things. So like odd things just keep happening. And then his wife does die in an event that then becomes like a media frenzy kind of, where like politicians are trying to use it to help with their campaigns, news outlets are running it, and it is not a quick death. She is injured very many varies badly in an accident, and then the process like from that point on is upsetting and depressing, and she is just eventually deceased. And so once that happens, Thiago makes different plans. So we're following Thiago while he is contending with his grief for his wife, but he's also still like thinking back to all the strange events that were happening in the house prior to her death, all of the strange things that were going on with the ITSA, and then strange things kind of keep happening to him off and on, but sort of in unexpected ways. Like something will happen, he'll be like, oh, that was weird. And I feel like it's just going to get weirder the farther I get in this, but it is really an exploration of his grief, because grief is really at the forefront for him, because his wife is gone, and he is like, well, I am not going to stay and do all of the things that I would have done with my wife because she's gone, and there are things that I have no interest in without her. So it is a lot of him recalibrating his life and trying to find a way to survive without the only person that he like truly had, because he really has no other family that he is close to or that he deals with frequently. So he really only had his wife, and so he doesn't really have anything. Technically he has her family, but that relationship is very strained. So Thiago is now just alone, and he's kind of like moving about is what I will say, because we don't stay in the same area. But the writing is beautiful. I think everything is being handled very interestingly. There are sections in Spanish where you intentionally are not allowed to know what's going on, because Thiago does not know what's going on entirely, even though Thiago is Mexican. He does say that, and then he is told he is not Mexican. It's a very tense little scene, but it is interesting because it's just the words are being presented to you, and if you know them, you know them. If you don't know them, you don't know them. I know a tiny bit, but my battery is dying, so I will tell you that I like it so far. I feel like saying I'm enjoying it is a weird way to phrase it, because it is very sad, but it is beautifully written, so I am enjoying it. I might read some tonight, I don't know. I'm still trying to convince Kira to get on this bed, but I gotta go because now I gotta charge this battery. So yeah, see, things are just going great. Everything is perfect. She rolled her eyes dramatically, but I'm gonna go to bed. Maybe read, who knows. But I gotta plug this battery in. So I'll talk to you sometime tomorrow, Grimalinos. Good morning, Grimalinos. I did not talk to you at all yesterday because I had read a little bit more of the book, but not enough to like give you an update really. Because I was like, well, at this point I should just finish the book because I only had like 30% left. So I didn't update you. I was really busy at work yesterday, like even during my lunch break I was doing stuff. And then once Krista came home, she brought me Taco Bell, which was very nice because I had a migraine for part of the day. It just like, I woke up with it. It just got progressively worse, but I couldn't like leave. So I just had to deal with it, but it went away by the end of work, thankfully. So she brought home Taco Bell. We had that for dinner, and we just watched, oh shoot, what is it called? The Last Thing He Told Me? Is that it? It's the Jennifer Gardner show on Apple TV. We watched the first season, again, because Krista was saying she didn't really remember a lot, because we watched the first episode of the new season, and she was like, I really want to rewatch it because I don't remember what all was happening, and I was like, okay. So we were rewatching that, but we did finish the first season, and we're technically caught up because we remember what happened in the second episode, or the first episode of the second season. So I don't know, but I'm actually here in my very cool Welcome to Salem sweatshirt because I finished This Thing Between Us, which this does get very, very horror heavy as you get farther in. There is, I'm just gonna tell you in advance, there's a very, very horrific scene with a dog, like consistently horrific scenes with that dog for a little bit in the middle of this book, roughly, and I was not prepared for them, and I was like, oh, like they introduced a dog, and I was like, okay, cool, he's a widow, now he has a dog, so like the dog is with our main character, and then things go completely off the rails, and it was depressing as heck, and also scary, but like depressing as heck because of what was happening with the dog, because we actually like saw things happening. So I'm just letting you know there's dog scene thing happening. Then the rest of the book again really leans into the horror. Let me double check. Does it mention, hold on, I just want to make sure it mentions this thing I'm going to talk about in the description of the book. I know it mentions the everything. Okay, is it it doesn't actually say it. So the haunting that he thought was happening in Chicago ramps up when he leaves. He winds up in Colorado, and at that point everything is just unbridled chaos basically, and things get very, very creepy. I will say it leans into like a cosmic horror in terms of what is going on, but it is very creepy. There's just like creepy people, like creepy things have happened to people, and it does still tie very, very firmly into Thiago's grief, because the focus is kind of always drawn back to his wife, and whatever is going on is like using that, and he starts wondering if this haunting, because this has all carried over, he believes, from Chicago, so he's wondering like why it's kind of targeting him and what's going on. There is a very cool moment in the book where you learn kind of why we're reading the book, like why events are being laid out to us in the way they are, and it was very interesting, and I liked that as a little like, it's not a twist, it was just like a cool little moment. Overall I very much did like the book. The ending, I will say, because of how things are being set up, the ending is kind of just a stop, like things just kind of stop, which it makes sense while you're reading it, so it does work, but I was kind of like thrown for a second. I was like, wait, because technically it ends and then something else is after the ending, and I was like, wait, what? So it was very cool. I very much enjoyed it. It's a very, very solid grief horror, and I think it does an incredible job discussing grief and what it's like when you lose someone so close to you, specifically a partner that is basically your only person in the world, because Thiago really only has his wife and then technically the wife's family, but the wife's family doesn't particularly care for him. They do appear throughout the book pretty consistently, but Thiago has lost like the only person that he really had any connection to in the world. And now let me present to you the final book for Buzzword. I think I am just gonna kind of stall and see if that other book comes in. So if I take days off vlogging, it'll primarily be because I'm waiting, but you won't know. I mean, I'll tell you if I took a break, but you won't really know if I wait for that book, because I'm second in line, and I'm kind of hoping over the weekend like people speed through their reading. So yeah, so I finished This Thing Between Us for the This That prompt, and it's almost March. Like, it's February 27th. I'm so close, really, really just so close, that I don't really care. I wanted to have like something to do as like a goal, and that seemed very doable. Now, the next one is for action. This is the cover aspect. So there is like word and then there's cover, and action was the cover element. And I did rewatch the clip, and this is Lila in the flesh. Jan Agaton just like read this, and I happened to see it on KU and saw that it has dripping, and Kayla very specifically said that like an action thing could be dripping, and this is like very fun. It's reminding me a lot of Criminal Insanity, which was this Harley Quinn Joker it was technically a comic, but it was like these big bind up kind of looking things. They're very fancy. And in it, Harley is a criminal profiler and the Joker is like a serial killer. And that cover reminds me of one of the covers. I am not going to tell you anything, just that it's a horror novel, and then we're going to get into it. So I may read some during my lunch today. Hopefully today is a little quieter. My next week is bonkers. So yes, my goal is to read this and then see if How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates actually comes through as a hold. Fingers crossed. I also have another hold in that's going to take probably months to get to me. I meant to request Tradwife on its release date, and I forgot. And now the line is very, very long, and my local library doesn't have it, so I'm waiting for it through the New York Public Library, which, if I haven't mentioned this, my librarian told me about it. If you live in the state of New York, you can apply for a virtual New York Public Library card, so you can use their Libby and their Hoopla. But they have a larger catalog than like my area does, because I'm in the North Country library system. We have some stuff, but just like some things don't have, they just don't get them because they don't think people are going to read them or listen to them or watch or whatever. But the New York Public Library gets more stuff, and so you can sign up for that card as long as you live in the state of New York, and they just have you pick like digital or virtual card or something like that, and it was really easy. So I have that, and that's how I've been getting a lot of Libby books that my library doesn't get or doesn't have yet or may never get. So it's been really helpful. But yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna drink my coffee. I'm gonna chill with pups because it's well before my work day starts, and I am actually all logged in. I'm like ready to go, but there's no pressing things that need done early, which is nice. Yesterday there were. I had to do a bunch of stuff before my actual work day started to be on time. Like if I didn't get them done, I was gonna be way behind for the day. And since I've been going in early most days because Krista leaves before I start work, I have just been doing stuff early and then kind of like chilling when I get time. But yeah, but I'm gonna go. I will talk to you about Lila in the flesh when I can. So yeah, I'm gonna drink some of this giant coffee. So talk to you later, Gremolinos. Hello, Gremolinos. Oh, my hair looks even worse than I thought. I have my hood on. It has been days, many days, since I updated you. I'm gonna try and kind of, there we go. Many days. It is Tuesday. I don't know the last time I talked to you. I am still reading Lila in the Flesh, so I'm not even gonna give you an update until I finish it at this point, mostly because my thoughts I feel like are going to be the same by the time I finish it as they are now, so it just makes more sense to me to finish it and give you final thoughts, as opposed to roughly halfway thoughts and final. The reason I'm here finally is so we had a vet appointment Saturday, and I think I told you we were going to the vet. I'm also making coffee, that's the sound you hear. It's like 1:45 in the afternoon, and I'm not at work, and I will explain why. So Saturday we took Chloe to the vet, and it was to do really just a liver check for her liver levels, because her liver, I cannot say that word today, had been like forced to overperform while she was sick, like while her spleen was having issues, and then when her spleen ruptured. So she'd been taking liver meds, she still is, but her liver is performing great. The issue is that her white cell count had skyrocketed out of the blue, and her red cell count was way down because of the white cell count. So our vet was like, I think, he was like, this is presenting as IMHA, which is an immune disorder, but he was like, I don't know for certain that that's what this is. And he was like, because like she could have an infection, like I have to do this, there's like a specific treatment plan you have to do if you even remotely think it's IMHA. And he was like, you have to bring her back on Tuesday. He was like, there's like no wiggle room on that. Monday is too early, Wednesday could be too late. She has to come back on Tuesday. So Kristen and I had to take today off. Like we both were like, we have to take her to the vet. The vet isn't even sure like she'll be staying there. So the issue was that on Saturday, he was like, if Tuesday is bad, if nothing has improved, I probably have to send her to Cornell, or like she would need a blood transfusion to get her red cell count up. And so he was like, I don't know, she might need a transfusion, but we won't know until Tuesday. So literally today, we like going into today, we had no clue, because he was like, we have to recheck her white cell level and her red cell level. And then he decided to run another test today, we found out, which was fine. I'll get into that. So we brought her back today, and she'd been acting better. So she was kind of tired, kind of lethargic, and her gums and tongue were pale on Saturday, which is why they were like, something is off. And so the blood test today, her red cells are going back up and her white cells are coming back down, which is very good. He said we're in a really good place. But based on her response to the medication, he can now definitively say that it's IMHA, which I cannot remember what that abbreviation is supposed to mean, but just know it's an immune disorder where the white cells in your body continuously, like, they will attack your red blood cells and basically your whole system because the white cells think there is something going on constantly. And this can be brought on, we're very sure that it was brought on from the spleen. So we were like talking to the vet because we were like, well, how could this have come up? Because she didn't have an immune disorder before. And we know that because she has had no adverse reactions to things that would cause or adverse reaction in an immune disorder. So this is what we've determined. The spleen and the tumor on the spleen are probably what set the IMHA in motion, because it was responding to like consistently having, like, her body was consistently dealing with a tumor. We do not know the biopsy results of this tumor. We did send it away, but we don't have them. We have no idea. We need to ask the vet on like next week. We have to go back next week about that because we haven't gotten any. But the assumption at this point is that the tumor in the spleen caused the IMHA to occur. Like, it caused IMHA to develop because her body was consistently fighting something. And even when that was removed, her body was still in this like hyperactive state. And kind of what kept that in check was she was still on antibiotics and a number of medications after her surgery. So all of that was kind of keeping her white cells from reacting adversely. And so there was no assumed IMHA after surgery. There was no reason to think that she had developed IMHA, even though it can happen. And consistently there are people who have said, like, Krista knows someone who has a female Rottweiler who had a splenectomy because of the same thing that happened with Chloe, and she also developed IMHA in response. And so based on her level, so after her surgery, her red blood cell level was still low and her white cell was still high, but it wasn't bad. Like, the red cells had gone up, the white cells had gone down over the course of a couple of days. So there was no concern that there was IMHA. That was not even discussed with us. Nothing happened. So because she was considered to be fine, she was on her medication, and we were not told not to give her any of her existing meds, on the 18th, I gave her flea and tick. And we didn't notice any issues, but she was still on antibiotics at that point. But when we went today, like when we went Saturday and her white cell was so up, today when I mentioned it, I was like, well, hey, could this have caused that spike? Like, could her body have reacted to the flea and tick medication? And he was like, oh, yes. He was like, actually, that makes sense. You gave it on the 18th and then her body would have reacted, so that would make sense. Her white cells would have gone up in response to the flea and tick medication, because any vaccination or preventative medicine like that causes someone with IMHA, specifically, I can't speak to other immune disorders in dogs, it will cause a response. Now, the weirdly positive thing about this is if I had not given her the flea and tick medication, there would not have been, sorry, my asthma is acting atrociously recently. I'm guessing stress. I don't know. It's just being the worst. It caused her white cells to spike. And the weird benefit of this happening is that Chloe actually was supposed to get her yearly vaccinations within the next couple of weeks. And we were going to schedule that at his office. And if she had gotten her vaccinations, he said she would have died. He was like, oh, like if we had given her rabies, she would have died. He was like, you can't like give that vaccine. Like, he was like, I actually can't give her any vaccines now. So when you have a dog who has an immune disorder, and again, I can only speak to dogs with immune disorders per my vet. Her specific immune disorder, and Chloe previously had a dog named Lily, who is a delight, but she had an autoimmune disorder and could not get vaccines because of that immune disorder. Chloe also cannot get them anymore. So if Chloe takes flea and tick medication, we now know that the like oral kind, she will have an immune response and it will be bad. Her white cells will go on the attack. They will try and destroy the stuff in the flea and tick medication because it's intruding in Chloe's body and they think they have to get rid of it. The other issue here would be that if she had gotten her 5-in-1, her Bordetella, which is like, they like squirt it into a dog's mouth, and her rabies, that would have been so many things at once that her immune system would have gone insane. So the benefit of me giving her a much lower dose thing that causes the exact same reaction for IMHA dogs is that it was so small that on the medication that they put her on, she's on a steroid and a very high intensity antibiotic, that calms the system down. So all of that is telling her white cells to stop doing what they're doing. Not entirely, but like stop being so aggressive. So today her red blood cells had gone up, her white cells had gone down, and she's on a good trajectory. Now, again, apparently if I had not given her this flea and tick medication, we would never have known this, because Chloe wasn't actually scheduled to go back to the vet. Krista actually called them because she was like, we're giving her these liver meds. I'm pretty sure she's supposed to come back, but no one scheduled anything. So Krista scheduled the appointment that we had Saturday. That's the appointment where we realized something was wrong with her white and red cell count, because no other appointment that we had an issue with her white and red cell count because she was still on other medications. So the timeline of events here is, again, the tumor and the spleen caused the immune disorder to come into being in her body. It caused her immune system to go into like a fight mode that it never came out of. And then me giving her the flea and tick under the assumption that she was perfectly healthy, excluding recovery medications, because again, no one told us not to give her her normal medication, and it's like very difficult to get them on the phone. So we gave it to her. If I had not given her that medication, we would not have seen the immune response go haywire. And then she would have wound up getting her shots, which would have decimated her immune system to a point that, again, per the vet, she would have died. So giving her that apparently was good, even though I feel bad that I caused her to get sick. But if we hadn't have done that, because IMHA was not on the table as anything they were concerned with, now we know she has it and it's being managed right now. There's like a methodology for this medication. She like starts on a certain level of medicines and then stuff gets tailored down. So we do have to go back in a week-ish. We're going back on Wednesday the 11th. I don't know when I'm posting this, so who knows if we've gone to that appointment or not when you're seeing this. And they will check her levels again to determine whether the baseline is working. And then they have to adjust after that to, like, from what I can tell, it's to wean her off the steroid and the antibiotic possibly. We don't really know. The vet said he would get more, like, we're gonna make the vet get more into it next time, because right now we're just told, like, keep her on the same medicine schedule we sent you home with on Saturday last week, and then just keep an eye on her. And officially we schedule no vaccine appointments and we give her no preventative medications, which we would not have been doing anyway, because she does not need flea and tick again until way later in the month. But she just won't get it anymore. And again, per the vet, she cannot get vaccinations. So she will never be able to be boarded again. So if we travel, she has to come with us because we can't leave her with anyone. She can't be with other people. She also could possibly be on some kind of medication for the rest of her life. We don't know. But we do just know her version of IMHA is responding to medication. Not all IMHA in dogs responds the same way, but hers is, at this point in time, showing that it can be treated with medication as opposed to like transfusions or more intrusive medical stuff, which is good. So she didn't have to get a transfusion. I'm pretty sure that I just had like snot come out of my nose. I told you, I'm like, I don't know what's going on with me. I can't tell if I'm still sick. I don't know if it's stress. I legitimately don't know. And I really don't want to go back to Quick Med because they're just going to tell me I have a sinus infection even when I don't at this point. So I just am what I am. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So, sorry if that was gross. I have no idea. Things are happening up here and in my chest and whatever. But yeah, so we have a diagnosis, and we would not have a diagnosis if I had not given her her flea and tick medication. So we have a diagnosis because her immune system responded, and it did not get triggered by something worse, which is good. So we now know that she has IMHA officially, and we just will be like keeping an eye on her, keeping track of that. This does mean she has to kind of change her like going out system. So after the surgery, technically once her sutures, because they're all healed up for the most part, she would technically have been able to go back to the bathroom like normal, off leash in our backyard. She can't do that anymore. She has to stay on a leash because Chloe's a tiny bit reactive, and she likes to jump on things, and we now have to like very much reduce her getting injured even accidentally. So we have to like leash her and keep her still. So she'll be leashed to go to the bathroom going forward, and we can't really take her to like dog parks. We never did that anyway. We don't like dog parks. They're scary. That's our personal opinion collectively as a married couple. We don't take the dogs to dog parks. But yeah, so she can't go to like large dog places. Like she can't go places where there will be a lot of dogs, where she could get cross-contaminated. This also means she can't see a groomer, because you normally have to have proof of shots, and she won't be able to have those anymore. Like we won't be able to say like, oh, she's not vaccinated because of this. So she can't go to a groomer. So we'll be able to brush her at home, of course, but like nails and stuff we'll probably have to have her vet do, just so it's in a confined space and they can take care of it. And if there's like a cut or a nick or anything, they can treat it for her. But yeah, so that is the update on Chloe. It's a lot of update, but I just thought I would say why I have not been updating this vlog, because it's been a lot. Like we genuinely had no idea what was wrong. Like the vet wasn't sure if it was infection, if it actually was IMHA, and he was like, I just have to do this protocol and then we go from there. And he was like, but I may have to send you to get a transfusion if the medicine is not working. And we truly had no idea how today would go, which was really stressful because we would need someone to come take Kira and Bruni out, but thankfully we didn't have to worry about that. I though need to make steaks. So we did tell Chloe that she would get steak today if things went well, and they did. So earlier, because I was so stressed over the weekend, we actually bought her filet mignons, like little ones from Walmart, because we were so stressed about what was going to happen on Tuesday, and I actually made her filet mignon, which I would not normally do. This was like a special, like we had no clue how today would go. We didn't know if it could go seriously wrong. We didn't know if she would be so sick that they would say that we couldn't do anything. So it was a lot to go into today with, but she has a diagnosis. We know how to handle the diagnosis so far. And yeah, so we have a follow-up on the 11th, which is very early in the morning. So long as that goes well, I'll probably just like go into work late that day. I just have to tell my manager. But yeah, so that is how that's going. But I need to make these steaks, so I'm gonna work on that. Krista is actually going to work. She has a night court tonight, and she did say that she like told her office that if everything went well. I know this clip is so long, I'm so sorry. It was a lot to tell you, and while I'm sure you don't particularly come to this vlog for big dog updates, I'm putting them here anyway in case somehow someone comes across this and has a dog who like suddenly starts developing weird issues and it turns out it's IMHA. I just thought I would put it here. But yeah, so she has work. I'm cooking these steaks for Chloe and Kira and Bruni. They're all gonna get steak today, like with their dinner and stuff. So I gotta work on that because Krista has to leave at like 2:30. So I gotta cook. I will talk to you about Lila in the Flesh at some point. I'm almost done with it. I may end the vlog with the Buzzword books. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I am still waiting for How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. My hold still is not in. It's just a high value hold. There are a lot of people on that book, and I am still second in line. I weirdly have the March Literally Dead book club book in at the library. Like it came in today. So yeah, so I may just do like a vlog after this one where I talk about those, but you will get my thoughts on Lila in the Flesh. I'm gonna cook. I will talk to you later, Grimolinos. Hello, Grimolinos from the floor bed. So we haven't put this away yet, even though we now have good news for Chloe. It's just helpful because she can like lay on it, and I'm gonna be working down here for a few more days just because we have the blood test on Wednesday. But this is going to be the final clip of the vlog because I managed to finish Lila in the Flesh. Hi, Salem. Salem says hi. So I'm just gonna hold it like once. The premise of this book is Lila is a like budding writer. I'm saying budding because she went to college, she like majored in creative writing, and she didn't apply / get into any MFA programs. So she's just kind of like stalled out. She has moved back in with her parents and she's trying to figure out what to do next. She's debating about getting like her teaching credentials and stuff like that. But then she hears about this very exciting opportunity. I'm gonna have to scroll a tiny bit so I can give you the name of the place. Actually, I know what I'll do. I am going to go out and I'm going to give you the name of the actual school because I'm gonna forget it and say the wrong thing. Okay, does it say it in that? Yeah, Claymont. So she winds up going to, like, getting into this very prestigious, like, 10 women only Claymont residency for writers. And it is in, oh god, it's like Umber Bridge, something like that, in Italy. And the program is so fancy, and like these 10 women basically get everything paid for. They're living in a renovated castle that has all the modern conveniences. And while there are some kind of restrictions because you have to get your writing done, you submit your pages to the mysterious reader, and the reader gives you feedback, and the reader can ensure you get published. Now, I will say the story itself is very interesting, but it does take us an oddly longer amount of time to get to Italy than I expected, which is fine. There's a lot of build up to it to present us Lila. So we would like understand who Lila was and why Lila was applying, and like Lila's parents. And then when we do get to the program, we're actually not in the program for very long. The book kind of spans less time than I anticipated. And we meet the other residents, and we learn that a spot had opened up for Lila because someone is no longer with the program. Now, there is a prologue that does explain to you what happened to that person, so you know what happened, but Lila doesn't. And admittedly, I almost wish the prologue had been a little shorter even, or like barely done anything at all, because we do actually learn what happened from like other people. But overall, like the tone of it is like very creepy, like as it starts, because Lila immediately starts like seeing things or feeling like something is off, and like being very creeped out by the castle, which she wasn't expecting because none of the other girls have said anything. And so she's very creeped out. Now, I will say, going into this story, I didn't realize it was only women, and I feel like it doesn't present it that it's going to be only women until you get there and you realize everyone who introduces themselves is a woman, which is, it reminded me of the writing retreat in that sense. Like the setup, it's women in a kind of confined location, and they're all just like writing. So that was cool. I did think the story was like fun, but also I found myself kind of like not as invested as I thought I was going to be. And I feel like that in part is Lila very much feels like a female character written by a guy. Like, she exudes in the presentation of her, like, I'm not like other people even. It's a very odd, it was like very odd for me, because she's like, well, I only write horror. So that's what you learn. Lila only writes horror. Lila only really is interested in horror. Lila doesn't really care to write other things. She's never been interested in that. All of her professors wanted her to write something different, like try writing something else, and she was like, no, I'm a horror writer and I will only be a horror writer, which is fine for the premise of the story, but also made it feel so strange. Like, I only write horror, I only do horror, and she becomes this kind of like, I only do that, and everyone is consistently like, oh, she writes horror, oh, she does horror, but like, she then is like, well, everyone thinks it's weird that I write horror, or are so critical of me writing horror, but you're also like embracing, because all the people at this writing retreat, Kira, what are you? Oh, you stole the other one. That's fine. They have like chew bones right now. They're like made of cheese or something. I don't know, but Kira keeps waffling between which one she wants. But she has stolen the one that I think Bruni was chewing. Anyway, so like the writers at this retreat are more like open to people writing genre fiction, which is cool, but also we still don't really get characteristics for the other girls. The other girls are all kind of like, in all honesty, they all kind of feel like the same character. Like, we get a scene where she has to identify the other 9 girls, like say she remembers their name and give a very specific like insight into them. But what's so curious to me throughout this is Lila is like, she'll like see something and then she'll be like, oh, well, I've determined the following about you, and she'll like say it, and that's presented before that scene. And so she's then like by other characters, it's like, oh, you're so insightful, oh, that's so impressive. And I'm like, why are we doing this? They're all supposed to be writers, and then they kind of are like, oh, they all are good at that. I'm like, oh my good lord. So like, it was just odd to me, because like the other 9 writers of the house either feel like they're not present or just kind of like lumped together sort of. So like no one really has their own personality. They're all kind of like a group of women. Like I don't know how to, like, if you presented these women to me in a lineup, I wouldn't be able to tell you which character was which or what character did what or how. Like, no, I would not be able to. Now the story is gruesome. It's like very fast paced in terms of like creepiness, some gore, like there's some very gory scenes, but it's so interesting because everything, like as soon as Lila gets there, is wild. There's no like her writing, like we don't get any time with her at the writing retreat really. It's more just like events immediately start happening. And I was like, oh, but I kind of want to like see her work, like her working on something, but she doesn't, like throughout this book. And I know I like try not to spoil things, but like this just like wasn't what I expected. So like going into it, like Lila is going to not really exactly have a story. So like things are happening to her very rapid paced. And I kind of was like, okay, something has to be going on. Like I very immediately was like, oh, something weird must happen here. Like, and then they like present something to you and you're like, and I immediately was like, ooh, got it. So like some of it was surprising, some of it wasn't. And I just think I didn't really, like, Lila just felt so a woman written by a guy. And like, I've read so many things, or so many horror books that men write that focus on a female character, and I haven't felt that way. Like, are you good? Okay. Kira broke a piece off the bone. I was making sure she was fine. So like, in particular, Stephen Graham Jones is mentioned in this, and like, I love Jade in his books, and Jade feels very much like an actual person. Like, I believe Jade as like a female character and being very complex, and something about Lila just like felt very one-dimensional to me. Like, this is a female character, but like her it just, she didn't feel like fleshed out enough to me, so I just wasn't like gravitating towards her. Like, I was just kind of like, okay, I'm like following our final girl character who I vaguely know things about, but she's never seemingly experienced any trauma in her life, and she's just kind of existing and doing great. And I'm just like, I also like have like, I have very great parents. I've had a very nice life overall. Like, but like this girl felt like nothing had, like, she just didn't feel like anything had really happened to her. So like, she gets there and I'm like, oh, this is horrifying for you. But also like, has anything ever happened to you in your life until this moment? Like, she just didn't feel like she had anything to call upon to like get her through it, except her knowledge of horror stuff, where she's like, oh, this is, so like, I don't know, like, the story itself is fun. Once I got invested in it at like the halfway point, I read it much faster. And admittedly, I did put this down a lot because of all the stuff we've had going on with Chloe, but like, I just didn't feel like really connected to Lila. I did enjoy it overall. It gets pretty creepy, but like one thing kind of throws me off in it, even with the ending, which is, it just like one thing kind of sticks out to me, but I can't really tell you what that is without spoiling a lot of stuff. So just know like the writing aspect does exist, but like it's not as big a part of the story as I expected it to be. Exactly. So yes, I think that's, I just feel like this is kind of par for the course, where I like really like one book I pick for each month of the Buzzword challenge I like very much enjoy, and then the other one I'm kind of like ambivalent about or don't particularly like. Now in January I did not like the other book I picked. I only liked one of the books I picked. I liked Coffin Moon, but I did not like the other one. And in this one I did very much enjoy the like 2 February picks, but I'm not like super motivated to read the sequels. Like, I think they would be fun and easy, but like I'm also kind of like, I don't want to like read them right now. No, the sequel for one of them is not out, but even if it was, I think I would kind of just be like, if I have time and it pops up, sure. And in this one, I would be curious to read a book by, I think, Nick Roberts, yeah, where it's a male protagonist. I feel like I would probably enjoy that more than I did this one. And I just feel like he probably writes a more developed male character. So I would look into that. He has a bunch of stuff that pops up on KU all the time, so I'll probably pick another one. I feel like I'm gonna cough and I don't want to. Yep, I did. It happened. So like I enjoyed, like I thought this was fine, but I did very much enjoy this thing between us so much. I thought it was really, really good. So like it just kind of feels like one is solid, and or like I guess February kind of, they were both okay, but like I was expecting different things from the Love and Hocus Pocus. Is that it? Love, Magic, and Hocus Pocus? The one that I said I have a bunch of books for. But yeah, so I'm not complaining. I am very much looking forward to continuing this for the rest of the year. Now, do I have any idea what I'm doing in my next vlog? No. If I get both of the Literally Dead book club books in, I'll probably throw those in the next video so I can watch the live from How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. And then The Fisherman is coming up, but that one is not happening until April, so I have plenty of time. But my library hold for that is already in, so we'll see. It just may be a chaotic, like random little vlog after this one. But yeah, so I'm just gonna be hanging with clothes the rest of the night. I do have work tomorrow. My schedule goes back to normal-ish. So yeah, I am gonna go and just relax. I might find something else to read that I'm not gonna vlog, just like chill and read. And I grabbed, because it's after 5, I grabbed a little bit of the wine that I left from yesterday, and I'm just gonna finish that off while I'm hanging out. So yeah, I think that's it. If you have read anything, I'm gonna pull this back up so I make sure, because I kind of want suggestions from people who have read more of his stuff. Pushing buttons, pushing buttons. I know this lights up my face, super weird. If you have read other things by Nick Roberts, could you please suggest like your favorite thing to me? Because I know a lot of people have read his stuff, and I just feel like I need someone to suggest me one so I know. Like a good one. Just please, if you have a suggestion, let me know, because I feel like I could probably really like something from him. That Lila one, like, didn't do it for me, just because Lila felt so, like, there just wasn't a lot to her as a character, it felt like. But I think I could enjoy something else by him. But yeah, so I think that's it. Yes, okay. I am officially going to go. If you like this, you know all the things, the thumbs up, the subscribe, who even knows. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I totally lost subscribers when I posted my Game Changers video, and I was so surprised. Not that I thought I was gonna get followers from it, but I was just like, oh, okay. Whoops. But it just cracked me up. I'm the tiniest channel known to man. Like, doesn't matter. So yeah, I just post for fun, and sometimes it's stress relief. So yeah, but I'm gonna go. I will see you in the next one, Gremlinos.